Okay, I will open the January 16th, 2024 meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency, our first meeting of the new year. And I will ask if there's any public comment. Seeing no one and hearing no one, I'll close public comment and move on to approval of minutes. We have minutes from our December 18th, right? Minutes themselves say. So, the December 18th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve. Second.
Any comments or corrections to those minutes? In favor?
Aye.
We have some outstanding minutes from our December 8th, 2023. Or two?
It is 22. Yeah, we found it as being unapproved. Yeah.
I remember it well. I think
Yeah.
I was in that room.
will also second that. It's a wonderful time.
So that was a motion and a second, is that what I heard?
Yes, sir.
That was Kevin Clark and Leslie White. There's a motion and a second. Any corrections or discussion on those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm noting Jennifer Townsend and Donna would abstain. Because you weren't in attendance? Yes. Right? Was that the proper?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll move into financial reporting. Let's start with resolution 2024-01, authorizing payment of the IDA bills.
I reviewed the bills and I would recommend authorization of these bills.
I would second.
Any questions regarding those or anything that would require explanation for us?
I have a quick question. Is Black Dog still doing social at all? So it looks like we have
That was their last.
the last one.
Yep.
So then from here, it's just Pat that will be.
Correct.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else from anyone? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's look at the cash balances, which we've all had a chance to review. Anything on any of those, Martha, that you want to call out?
No, not in the cash balances. It's pretty standard.
On the balance sheet and P&L. Anyone have any questions on any of that?
I will note on the P&L, you can see December 23, there's a budget of $27,000, and that payment has been received. That was from CASA.
Okay.
That was received after we closed the books.
We have our investment report from Tompkins.
Right, it's a new format.
Let's see that.
Yes.
So with the new format, we don't see the change in market value. Is that correct? Or is that just because the new format started
I think because this is the first statement
of the new?
of the new format, so you don't have that reference.
So that should, next month, we'll see that we will have a beginning market value. We should
Yes.
have a beginning market value of the activity summary sheet. That would be this 896, 872.
Mm-hmm. We do, the next maturity in that is February of 24, February 15th, the amount of $150,000. I had originally had in mind that would fund in part the parking lot expansion. So when it does come due, I will take a look at where we are on that, see if there's any short-term investment opportunities, or roll it into a CD or whatever. So because I think we were gonna talk about possibly going back out to bid. And I don't have that on this agenda.
I thought we were talking about doing that in February.
Yeah, yeah. So when we get to old business, let's have a discussion about that. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on financials? Going to old business, the 58 South Main Street LLC on their project pilot.
Right.
And we reviewed that last month, talked about it last month, and we asked for a little more information, particularly the benefit incentive ratio, which has been provided to us now. Was there anything else given to us regarding that, or was it pretty much just the ratio?
We did not have this calculation last time when we accepted the application because we didn't have the software. We've since acquired it from MRB Group. It's very user-friendly. Jen and I worked on that. And what it does is it's got all of the in-plan data, the spillover effects, those types of things I couldn't possibly estimate. You know, I could calculate the pilot payments and those types of things, but this takes into account the jobs, the taxes generated, and all that kind of stuff. So in summary, it's got a 23-to-1 benefit to incentive ratio, which is far exceeds our minimum requirements. So the public hearing is scheduled for January 26th at 8:30. I sent you all a calendar invite just to put it on. No, you're not required to attend. You can attend. We will live stream it as well. So. And all of the taxing jurisdictions have been notified as required. Deb took care of that today. And because we notify the school, the town, the county, the village about this. So, and invite them to come for public comment. So then we would take the application up at our February meeting for final approval.
So there is no action that we would be taking this evening that follows the public hearing. Right?
Correct.
So thoughts or more information or questions regarding this?
Just what you mentioned is 23-to-1 here, what the standard is. Is it like 8-to-1?
Our UTEP requires 2-to-1 minimum.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, pretty much exceeds it. Because we thought it would, but it is
Right.
good. We needed that program. I mean,
Absolutely.
we just needed
Yes,
to have that
yes.
updated, that we
Yes,
could
and
rely
this-
on that.
And this is something that is required of us by New York State as well. That when we consider pilot program, we have this calculation.
Anyone else?
I also want to note that, Martha, I appreciated the language that you used in here about the reflecting how this choice reflects the village comprehensive plan as well as our own economic development study.
Yep.
So that was
Yes, because that's our role here, is to support the village and their goals of the comp plan, right? So, and that's also helps make the case, because we do receive scrutiny from, authority's budget office and comptroller and so forth. So when you can demonstrate that it supports the village's comprehensive plan, that's always a plus.
I'll just add, I appreciate the investment in the tool as we've talked about pilots in the past. Having that data point really helps to explain the why.
Right.
It's clear, obviously, incentivizing development, but short-term with significant gain in the long run. That really helps to tell that story. So then we're armed with that again. Thank you for the update.
Yes, yeah. And that it's also an independent, it's not me just doing the calculation. You've got, economic development, independent agency that's well-known in the, in our world. So, and this is the standard tool that everybody else uses.
Can I ask it should be a really simple question?
Of course. Okay, I'm sorry. Welcome to the mayor. She's our Village Board.
Hi, and I'm catching up, getting myself up to speed because I haven't been regularly attending your meetings. I'm reading through this and I know it's for the Bank of America building.
Correct.
Does this also apply to the development of the building next door?
It does not.
No,
Okay.
It does not. They don't meet our criteria for
Okay.
a pilot.
That's really all I wanted to know.
we made it abundantly clear that we would not be assisting that parcel. that new
Okay,
parcel.
and I'm assuming since you've made it abundantly clear that they are prepared to move forward
Yeah.
without,
As far as we
some
know,
sort of
they
pilot
are. They were
program.
disappointed,
Okay.
but it doesn't fit our criteria.
okay, thank you.
Jennifer, this is the first pilot that you have been, pilot discussion
Yes.
that we've been through. Are you comfortable you getting the information that you need to make decisions on this?
I will. I think looking at the information that we got from MRB was really helpful. I think when we first started talking about it in the ratio, I had to go home and Google what that was and why, like where. So now I do feel like I'm getting up to speed.
Good.
And this graphically shows us nicely as well. So thank you. I feel comfortable with it so far.
All right, so any other thing to do with that? Again, action will be taken on at the February meeting. Okay. Board evaluation results. We all filled those out, our anonymous confidential board reports, or evaluation report. One item stood out as regarding, I think it would be number 5 on our list. The board sets clear and measurable performance goals for the authority that contribute to accomplishing its mission. Some would agree, so that means that it's still in the plus column. But I think that that's something that if we can improve on how we're doing things, we should talk about that, and whether that's something we do at the planning session or what. But if there's any questions about either those goals or the measurables, I think that we should talk about that. We should see what we can do to move us further into the plus column on that issue. So I don't know if anybody wants to discuss that this evening, or if you want to wait till planning, or you want to drop a note as to you want to come to me, or I can distribute it with anybody's thoughts on that. We just want to make it better,
Yeah. And it was striking. You can see the results. It's not horrible, but there's apparently something that we can improve upon, as the chair said. And we do have the economic development plan with its matrix, which has steps and goals and so forth. Is there something we can do with that document or to improve it, to get us all comfortable that we do set goals and so forth? So looking forward to comments and discussions back on that, suggestions or more specifics.
I think that discussing in the planning meeting is a good idea. I think what would comfort me is like maybe deciding as a board like 2 or 3 like what we want to call key performance indicators that we want to set for the year, and even like kind of consider it a pilot the first year to see how it works, because there's so much work that it's really hard to predict, right? It's really hard to predict when like the Bank of America building is going to come online and that stuff. But if there's things that we think like, okay, this is most likely going to happen next year, let's put an indicator towards it so we know we're progressing. That to me would be. I'd like to at least experiment with that.
Sure. Yeah, sure. We can.
Yes. Yeah. Great.
Or if there's additional goals that we as a board we may want to individually, tackle. I kind of thought this one a little bit, and so maybe we come out of a planning meeting and we talked all of our stuff and we just kind of, exhausted. But are there two, are there one other things that, should be a goal, maybe in a broader space, maybe not project specific? Should we be looking in another direction or something like that? That doesn't come out of the planning meeting. If we can all individually just, maybe capture a couple or three, and maybe it's by agency too. There's, for each one of those, what we might want. So that's a possibility too. Of, if it's a goal issue, because Martha said we have a project matrix, or a priority matrix, but do those really capture all the goals as well? So yeah, if you give it some thought, drop some comments.
I can also look at, and Ed and I can find examples of how other
That's a great idea.
organized. I know there's, some that put in their annual reports. We can look at theirs and see how they might.
So the measurables.
Yeah. It's it's different because it's measurable as, you'll grow sales by 40%. It's not that simple. So it's a little more nuanced. But we can find some examples that might stoke the fire for thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments on that?
I think it's going to be a good exercise, and I like the idea of piloting it too and evolving.
Cool. All right. So that's a great lead into the economic development matrix. That we have created. When was that created?
In February of 22. When we
And it's
started.
been updated a couple of times.
This is really our first update.
Well, I'm just looking at the,
We've seen it a couple of
updates
times.
as completed items.
Yes.
We have recognized the completed item with the branding and the websites.
Yes,
There's a number of those things.
yes. So we looked at it we discussed it quite a bit back in September. And I realized it would change in April, but we've looked at it a couple times. I feel I'd really like to update the matrix.
Okay.
And not wait till April. And I've added in, based on our discussions, things that I thought were new goals. Now that we've got so much behind us with branding, the UTEP and so forth. So
That's
just
the red.
Hmm?
The red.
The red.
Is new.
A couple of items were struck.
Yeah. And that's okay. If they're not applicable or if they're not appropriate, that's okay as well. Just for example, on the focus area 1, maybe prioritizing those OSED recognition programs, and we can do that through our advertising and marketing budget. We have not really begun that, but now that we have some time to build in, that helps get our story out when we highlight successful businesses we've worked with and so forth. I don't know what it would look like, but I'd like to move that into a high priority for this year because we do have a budget for it. And then I also, what you'll find in other economic development organizations, they have an inventory of sites. At the county level, we've never tried to maintain that because it was just too vast, but that's certainly manageable here at the village level. So I added that because I think we could do that very easily. And it keeps us connected to the developers. If every month I'm calling and saying, what do you got this month? Is this still available? Those types of things. People like to see what's available when they're poking around an economic development website. So I'd like to add that. In the housing, I've added the project-based vouchers as a priority for us. That would be continuing to work closely with the big developers, make sure we're up to date with them on all of their projects, can plan ahead. Those projects are multi-year, but we should be talking to them early in the process. So I added that. I also, let's see, collaborating with the Fairport Parenting Partnership on an updated business inventory. I had a great meeting this past Saturday. They invited me to attend their annual retreat, and really it was very energizing. It's a great group of professionals that are interested in lending their talents. It's not just let's plant some flowers kind of people. They're professional. They've got great resumes. We talked a little bit about the business inventory. What you can do with that then is what's here, but what's not here becomes easier. It also helps us communicate to people looking to locate here what is here, quantify it by industry and all that type of thing. There's a lot happening here that is not on this main street front or storefront, right? A lot of tech firms are here. I really look forward to working with them on that. So I've added that. And what else? Obviously redevelopment of the Millstone Block. Adding that as a high priority. Pursuing funding partners for our parking lot project, completing the Thomas Creek Wetlands projects. You can see those in the complete community section there. And then I created a new focus area for internal organizational priorities and the RFP for locally based social media services. We did bring it local for Pat on an interim basis. We may want to consider actually RFPing it depending on how it rolls out. I also already added one and took it off, finding an admin. So with Jen on board now, that's completed. And then also adding in that succession planning that the governance committee is working on. So I think, and again, this can be updated again after our April meeting, absolutely. But I'd really like to turn this red ink to black.
This is super helpful. Thank you. What other opportunities are there to collaborate with the Fairport Parenting Partnership? Like, would it make sense to have somebody come chat with us maybe at a meeting? Or...
Yes. I'm sort of now an ad hoc member of the Economic Vitality Committee.
Oh, okay.
And, they've gone back to the Main Street principles that they were founded on, and they're really focused on organizationally structuring themselves to be most effective. So I was able to get a little breakout, and everyone talks about business attraction, and I said, well, but we could do business retention as well.
That was one of their original tenets was
right,
recruitment and retention.
And they've got some real, Jack Finkel is a new member of the partnership. He's a former banker. He's been around forever. He's anxious to get in and help businesses, that just have a small business who doesn't have the time to devote to advertising or capital planning or whatever. There's a lot of opportunity for us to partner with them on the economic vitality.
Oh, great.
And I'm sure we could invite Nancy and John Paul, the president, to come and visit with us, or Steve LaSalle, the chair of the Vitality Committee. Yeah, their resumes are very impressive. Met with Al Bartolotta, who's a planner. Spent 30 years planning in Tampa, St. Pete. You've got award-winning landscape architects, planners. It's really it's an impressive group.
That's
really
great.
And they're focused on they've refocused, and it's really great.
I spoke with Nancy recently. She's very excited about where we are now and kind of moving it forward together as far as how can we help each other, how can we collaborate. So
right.
and echo
So
what we already know, which is I know you've been a great partner in trying to identify how we can do that.
It's exciting.
So should we send you thoughts before April? Do you want, like, if there's any thoughts or?
Well, I would like to, if the board's comfortable, I'd like to, approve this, adopt
Right.
it.
Mhm.
And then we'll look at it again in April.
Good.
I really, it's overdue. And there's no harm.
One of the things that stood out to me as I was re-reviewing this
Please.
first time, a number of our priorities in, where we have the involved parties, and a number of those are with the Village of Fairport. I know that the board members and staff have received our documents as part of our plan. But I would like to, Mayor, I would like to try, if it's possible, that maybe in March, prior to our planning meeting, that we have a joint meeting with the village, and whether that's planning staff or whether it's the board or board representatives, something like that, to kind of go over what our priorities are, and because we've noted partnership or involvement with the village, and kind of go through those things and get that feedback at that meeting. It could be a tool for us, and what do we need to do? Do we need to start something, as a committee kind of thing, with working within the committee as we're advancing some of these goals that we have? So if that's possible, I think,
I would like that very much. I don't know if it's a subset of the village board, and maybe some representatives from some of the departments. Otherwise, we have to do it in a formal meeting like this.
Correct. I know that we would want our full board involved on that, and not a committee. So from our end, it would be a publicized meeting, unless we did it through LEC. But well, any of them required. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll publicize it.
Yeah, we would advertise it as a meeting from our end. But yeah, we would like to have some board, if not all, if you want to keep it less for advertising purposes, then at least some board members, obviously
Sure.
Yourself, Brian, Joel.
I think that would be great.
I think it would too, because there's some big things coming up, and we can share some stuff, and this is what, to help us succeed with this is what we'd like to see from you. And then, the board can give us, or your people can give feedback saying, yes, for you to do this, we need that, you to do that, or we need to know this. So I think that would be beneficial, and that would help us probably if we could pull it off in the first 2.5 weeks of March. That would be wonderful.
I'll let you know from your past history, March is budget planning month. So I can already tell you that the last 2 weeks of the month are already 2 meetings a week for the budget. So if we can do something earlier in the month.
And I'm looking at it, personally, I'm here the first couple of weeks of the month.
Yeah, I leave March 29th and I won't be here for 2 weeks.
So anyway, so
I
maybe,
support you there.
so maybe we, if we can set that up, Martha, would you initiate?
Sure.
Could you try, or how do you want to go about that?
I would have Martha talk to Brian, because Brian's doing the scheduling for all the meetings. I'll also have the conversation with him. And one of the things that is my goal coming out of these meetings is to make sure that I'm taking the appropriate information to Brian, as well as then back to the board, so that they're fully informed on how we can work together. I think it would be good. I think that there are board members who don't have no idea what the full relationship of this could be.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be beneficial. So I think that if we can make that work, I think that would help.
First 2 weeks.
Anybody else's thoughts on that?
I'm on board. It sounds like that 2 week window may be the best 2 week window we can shoot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask, would a fallback position be the first 2 weeks of April? Oh, no, the mayor will be gone.
I'll be gone too. At some point. I don't know.
I know. All right. No, I was just saying,
I know
our
a lot of
planning
people will be
meeting
gone.
is scheduled, I think, for the 11th, right,
March.
April.
Yeah.
Our
Right.
village board meeting is the 11th, but we will not be doing the budget that day because I won't be here.
Yeah,
Oh,
our
oh,
planning
yeah.
meeting is,
Oh, wait, our planning meeting is
Is the
24th, actually, April 24th.
Governance meeting.
The governance is
Yeah.
April 11th,
Well,
so,
something's planned.
yeah, we would, so
All right,
anyway,
well,
I mean, I
we'll
think
shoot
that
for
would be
March.
handy if we could get,
See
you
if
know,
we
if we
can
could
pull it
share some
together.
stuff and, go from there.
That'd be really good.
Are you okay if we can't get all of the board members
oh, yeah.
at this meeting, if we can get
Sure.
some of them there?
Yeah.
I don't want to hold it up based on,
Yep.
I can't get a full group of board members.
And I guess what I would suggest is if it's new board members that aren't familiar with those, that I know that when Tracy came on, I know she spent time with you.
I
think
have
that
a,
Emily certainly,
Yeah.
you know, knew from her experience with that. So I kind of have the thing not, I know Martha comes in and does annual report. And that's a great thing in and of itself. She does a great job doing that. Usually, I'm not sure which
February.
February meeting go in and do that. And so I'd rather this one have be more of a working session as opposed to, this is what OSED does, you know?
I would
You know,
Like to see it,
and
like,
so if
here,
your
let's
new
do it.
board member want, you know, if they could set up a time to spend a little time with Martha. or
I've already got it set up with Heidi.
You got Heidi on.
Yep.
All right.
But I imagine if you polled the board, your board, a couple of them would be open to meeting with us. So, yeah, that would be great.
you're thinking in the afternoon, like the 4:30, 5 o'clock?
Oh,
It's usually best for our board, the 4 and after, 4 o'clock.
Because
And after
Adam
that.
has a day job,
Yeah.
Emily has a day job.
yeah,
Heidi's job is a little more flexible.
okay,
She's done it.
I mean, if it's
Yeah.
a 6 o'clock, it's a 6, yeah, we
Yeah.
can,
Okay.
you know, but
Yeah.
probably, I guess after 4.
after 4,
After
Yeah.
4.
sometime in the, yeah, I'll reach out to Brian and, yeah, great,
And he can bring it up at our next work session meeting to discuss.
great.
Great.
I look forward to it.
All right. Anything else on the matrix before we move on
Do we want to, could I have a motion and
to,
to accept the matrix?
with the
addition?
current changes?
Yes.
I move. I will second that.
Thank you.
Can you just add it, like, maybe in the paragraph one, sorry, in parentheses when we added that?
Oh, the
So-
ad date? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually, this is an Excel spreadsheet, so yeah, easy peasy.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else on discussion?
Just, I don't see anything that would redact here. I already think, maybe this is part of the KPI conversation too, but the, under housing, focal point 2, more of a URA section 8 conversation, but, landlord outreach. How can we kind of use wins that we've seen already, to attract more of this, not the large scale, but the smaller scale landlords?
Okay,
Stuff
Yes.
that have a positive
all right,
impact.
so
Yeah.
to your point, I could add in landlord incentive
Recruitment.
program,
Recruitment.
outreach and then recruitment.
Sure.
Yes.
I didn't want to slow this down, but I think if we're gonna look at it again coming out of planning,
Yeah,
meeting, I
but
just wanted
let's
to put a pin
Get
in
it right
that.
on there.
Sure.
No, I'll add that on there as a high priority, near
That'd be great.
term.
Yeah, that's-
Okay.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have an easement that RG&E would like
Right.
from the village, and this has been tossed around a bit, and Ed has been working, and Martha working with the engineers and RG&E.
Mhm.
So,
Right, we went back and forth with language a couple of times, and Ed's been helpful on this. So again, this is we want to put the gas main through the North Main parking lot in the spring. So
Is that right through
easement.
the sidewalk? Right. I'm trying to think
Right.
of our plan.
Right, that's right, but they are obligated to return it to existing conditions,
Okay.
subject to our approval. So, it's fairly standard, actually. It's,
We're getting a small remuneration for
Right.
small fee and cost related to life services.
right.
It's located in a floodplain, so it's not really the
So
land
it's
is that valuable. So
Right, so it's restricted for building
Yep.
purposes.
Yeah, so it's not like, the fee, I think we quoted them something like 1,800. Cover costs, essentially. His and mine. But it's not, we're not giving up a lot, honestly, so. So I'd need, a motion to authorize me to execute this.
So moved.
Any more discussion or questions regarding that? All in favor?
Aye.
So then we've added to the old business, the North Main parking lot.
Mhm.
Discussion?
Yep. Last we talked, after getting those quotes, we talked about sending it out again, hopefully getting a wider, deeper pool of bidders. Hopefully prices are not worse than they were in September. This would, we'd be engaging BME to do that again for us with the same plan as it had existed last fall. Parking is still an issue. When we did, as we expanded the parking lot a couple of times. The last time when we regraded the back end there, it was in anticipation of putting a full parking lot in. So that was 3 or 4 years ago. But we were trying to do something quick in the fall, right before the cannery opened. And so I still believe we should move forward in some manner. We spent a lot of time on the design, trying to scale it back to include, to not totally give up all the green space. I think the plan accomplished a lot of what the goal was, the board was looking for. I think we were just dumbfounded by the cost of the whole project when it went out to bid. So
There was also concern that you didn't see the usual companies on the list, right?
Correct.
Have you had any conversations with BME this season, talk about market conditions?
I have not. Yeah.
I think February is probably a great time to send it out to bid because I think most people are getting paperwork done right now and can actually get bids back. They're not out doing stuff as much,
Yes.
I'm wondering, and setting up their spring schedules. So it might help us to get on their schedule on the earlier part of the spring too, if we can line it up if it ends up working out.
And again, going out to bid doesn't commit us to doing it.
Right.
So,
When you speak to them about that, can you ask if they can suggest any alternates as well, that maybe that you can carve out a piece of the project
oh, okay.
and to bid as an alternate, and we could award a base bid, but not do something, and I can't, off the top of my head, think what might be a reasonable alternate, but those are things for budget protection that are often put into bids.
Like I know one of our goals, here was completely Thomas Creek, or the North Main parking lot, and some funding partners for that, and making that move to putting it out to bid and subsequently actually awarding it kind of negates that need. But if we had something that was carrot, that alternate plan, then, if they want to, we're going to do this, but this, it's your job. You're on your
I
dime.
like your thinking.
Yeah.
And-
Because otherwise, there's no benefit, there's no incentive for any.
If there's something of value to the user or to the
Mhm.
adjoining property owners that would be a benefit to them, that we carve out as an alternate and say, well, we're prepared to do this.
Otherwise,
But if we need to go another, and I don't know whether that relates to number of parking spaces or something that may be
Oh,
of benefit,
Okay,
that may be a way to induce funding.
because otherwise, once we put this out to bid, there's no reason for them to come to the table.
Well, yeah, the
Well,
only thing we
there's
have left
more.
at that point is awarding a contract,
Right.
right? But we could still say, nah, it's still more money than we want to spend, but we don't want to go.
I know. And by the time we get those bids in early March and the desire to get it done hastily, there's no time to negotiate with those
No,
property
yeah.
owners.
You're right.
Do we have a
Okay.
plan, for who we want to tackle? I know you guys have already spoken to some folks about trying to see. I understand you put about like leverage. We don't really have any leverage to negotiate with anybody because we want to put it in anyway. So why would somebody give us money if,
Right.
for no reason, sort of, with the exception of us roping it off and saying, hey guys, if nobody's going to pitch in, I don't know. What do you want to do? Like this, we can't afford to do it. Like, what do we think is the path forward for
Our initial
negotiating?
conversation as we tried to do this was, and it comes down to the one major developer.
Right.
And the question, it was offered to us to provide construction management services, that they were going to look at plans, which I believe they did, but they really never came back with anything else. I never heard anything.
yeah, they were gonna pick it up again after the first year.
So, okay.
Mhm.
Personally, in my experience in this business, that is both inconsequential.
Right. And when they talked about looking at the plans,
You know, I mean,
It's a value
in their,
engineer.
in their mind,
Right.
well, you could put more parking spaces if you got rid of all those sidewalks and curbs and grass.
Yeah,
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 I mean,
their goals are
that's their
different than ours, yeah.
motivation,
We've seen that.
We want to make it look beautiful also.
Or also the question of like, why am I gonna contribute to paying for parking spaces when my neighbor's taking all the parking spaces and
Right.
it's gonna just.
Oh, yeah, it's a tangled web.
And there
It's
is.
not a simple.
Just thinking about how we might edit it too, as far as the outreach. I know we were up against it and likely limited our responses that we got because of the kind of shoveling ground expectation that we set before. I'm curious if, obviously that is gone and we have urgency and want this done as quickly as possible, but do you think from a developer standpoint, do we improve the bids we get, or either in quality or in quantity, if we say, kind of build in flexibility? In other words, the opposite of shovels must be in the ground, almost like a open to discussion type of time frame that we would be able to. My thinking is developers might already have things lined up, they'd want to bid, and we can discuss. If we like the proposal, otherwise we can discuss when could you fit that in. And certainly it would be a factor in if someone's saying we're not going to be able to get that in until November, but the rate's really appealing, right?
Yeah.
It's a discussion that we would have to have, whether that would be a higher priority than getting it done sooner. But building flexibility in so we might get more considerations.
So BME actually has in their bid documents, if I remember from years ago, they had some sort of statement to that effect. You tell me, as one of those. The owner would like to have this project done as quickly as possible, but for the best value. I mean, they actually have some language that I've seen before. They used to. I don't know if they currently still carry that. One of the things that would be in consideration would be Canal Days has used that lot the first weekend of June. Sure. They've used that lot, not the entire lot, not the new improved lot, but would like that thing to be occupiable for canals.
Right.
Just
So
for
construction maybe
community-
start
For
after.
community benefit, because they use that as a, I think the children's area is what they've been
And the
using.
whole
as
house
a-
there and a bounce house or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Used to be the Y was over there, and now it's Carrington Rec.
Parents
Okay.
and Recs over there, okay.
Carrington Rec sets up in there.
that's that, okay. So I would think that that would just be a key date that, when you work around it,
Yeah, and I think you just said it, Martha, doesn't it, it might be we'll start after that, so we don't create another situation where we have this deadline that is gonna keep folks from responding to the RFP.
But I think that, again, going back to my experiences, I think that you're going to have people that, if you have me shovel ready by April 15th, when the plants open up, and I can get in there March 5th or April 1st and prep for the opening, and I can get this out of the way, because my other projects I have is going to involve a lot more earthwork, and it's going to take and I'm not going to be paving till fall. And that's, so I think that there is an advantage to them to do it in the spring.
Okay.
This job.
Have it lined up.
fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. I'll get in touch.
So we should go ahead with the bids and just think of ways that we can still continue to look at partners. Is that a good answer on that? Okay, any other old business? All right, we'll go into the new, there was a governance committee meeting held.
Yes.
Rob, as chair of the governance, would like to let us know what went on there.
Yeah, we connected last Thursday. And the big ticket item is we recognized that whatever runway we have with our current executive director, that we want to be prepared for an eventual transition to a new executive director. Martha made very clear she loves her job, which we're thrilled to hear and to have her. But getting ahead of that and doing so in a smart way is a priority for the governance committee. Jen brought some structure to the conversation, which was really, really meaningful because of prior experience on other boards. And we're going to use that experience to its fullest. And I think we all received documents today that are some of those sample documents that we're going to use as guardrails. But we're going to be building out a succession plan, both kind of a 2-year roadmap and then also an emergency plan. So in the event something terrible happens, right? So someone could fill in as an interim and be
Or I
surrounded.
hit the lotto.
Or, a lot of.
Or something amazing happens.
And the parking lot's on you.
That's right. That's right. We got a funding partner.
Yeah, there's a partner.
I'm sure, let's get that on the record. You'd be happy to. But no, the idea of, God forbid something happens, we are prepared as an organization to hand off the football, if you will, and make sure that the work of the agencies continue. So we talked about that, and we have another meeting scheduled now where we're going to talk about the inventory of tasks associated with Martha's role, and looking forward to that discussion. And anybody else that wants to participate in the succession planning conversation, you're welcome to join in. I think it's always good to get other input for something like this that we haven't done previously here.
Mhm.
That was the biggest ticket item, but then we also talked about revisiting bylaws, revisiting policies, and we're prioritizing the bylaws. But we're going to start looking at that, and in part from some of the feedback down that you shared from your recent training that you attended in person, making sure that we're looking at that annually, revisiting and making sure that we're in a good stead with the policies. Jen, what did I miss? Anything you can think
I
of?
don't think it's.
Mission statement.
Oh, mission statement,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about looking at that, in concert with the vision statements, or the vision statement for the broader agency, revisiting the mission statements for each individual organization, obviously the IDA included. So that's a priority of the governance committee as well that we're tackling.
And Jennifer, do you want to share our conversation with Matt
Yeah, we had a great conversation with Matt Horn today from MRB about having him work with us to navigate the process of looking at our mission statements again and the vision statement. And I think we left it as though he might stop into one of our meetings, give us some work to do prior to a special meeting work session that we would have with him to update our mission statements. But getting feedback from all of us on what works for the mission statement now, what doesn't work, what our thoughts are ahead of time, so that when we do meet, we can actually tackle getting some stuff done. And he's going to be submitting a proposal for us to review before we agree to anything about what they could do for us.
And the reason we went out to Matt Horn is because he worked with us on our economic development plan. And in that plan, which includes the matrix, you have our vision statement and you have our values. And those, I guess, are two key components in developing your mission statement. So it made sense to go back with the same group that worked with us before. He was very excited about it. And possibly we'll see him at the February meeting, as Jennifer said, then the work session in March, and then at the April planning, adopting the new ones. That will be the goal. So we'll be getting a proposal soon.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll leave the charge from the governance committee in that regard. That's going to be something in regards to the mission statement that we'll collaborate as a full board and making sure that everybody has a voice in are we getting it right.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Good.
Thanks, Rob. The other item of new business is the legal services contract renewal.
Mm-hmm. Right. We missed this last April, so I'm asking the board to renew us through the end of this April, and then we'll get that on the calendar for April. In your package is a copy of the agreement that we have in place.
So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second.
Any discussion regarding that? All in favor? Aye. Okay. One last item, we have a visitor with us tonight, and I'll let Ed do introductions.
Thank you, Chairman. I wanted to, and thank you for the contract. Deb,
First things first.
Yeah. So Deb Natelli has been with us for a couple of years, helping out in the IDA space, helping all of our IDAs. She's behind the scenes, but she's invaluable, and she's retiring at the end of this month. So I wanted her opportunity when did you start in banking? You were a fleet, or was it Central Trust? Security Trust. Security Trust. So, was it really kind of sweet?
Oh, was that right?
That's what the BOA building was.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to miss her. Paula Hearns in our office is a paralegal, is going to transition into the role, but I just want to have an opportunity to thank her for all the hard work that she's done over the years and how she's made my job much easier. So.
And Ed gets all the glory.
Yes.
Yes.
But she really deserves all of it.
Thank
So
you.
I just wanted her to come out.
Thanks for your help over the years. Enjoy the retirement.
Well deserved.
Don't rub it in. I'll enjoy it.
So thank you.
Yeah, Deb's been fun to work with. We have a lot of laughs when we're, a lot of disbelief.
Sometimes it's just laugh.
So true, so true. Yes, but thanks, Deb, and have a great time. Thank you.
Is there any other IDA business for anyone? Okay, take the motion to adjourn.
We'll move to adjourn. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
So you text.